Hi, everyone. So thank you all for joining today's webinar. We're going to talk about how you can maximize the utilization and increase profitability by enabling client allocation. The idea behind this webinar is to discuss what are the different ways of assigning clients, especially when it comes to multiple client association to a single project, and then how the billing and cost differs and how you can calculate that. All of that will be discussed in the webinar as on today. Now, just to give you an overview about what the agenda of the webinar is going to be today, we're going to talk about the different methods that are present in Replicon for associating the clients to the projects. Then we're going to talk about the billing and cost data calculation that happens. We'll show that to you in the system on how the billing and the cost data will be differentiated based on how you associate a client to a project. And we'll see the reporting the client data in the system. And finally, if there is any question and that you want to ask us, then you can feel free to ask us towards the end of the webinar, or you can chat during the webinar and we can answer the questions on the go and then proceed with the webinar. Okay, so different methods of associating client to projects. Now, the standard or the basic way of associating a client to a project, of course, is that you have one client and that is associated to one project in the system. And then all your billing and all your costing goes over to that particular client on the whole. But there are two other ways that you can associate multiple clients to a single project. Now, these come handy when there are situations like you have one single project, but you have been working on that project for two or multiple clients in your organization. So I have, say, for example, just taking an example that I have a project where I manufacture my laptops, and I have around 5 clients that are requiring the laptops that I manufacture. So I wouldn't be creating different projects for all the clients that I have. So I have one project called manufacturing, and then I can associate 5 different clients to that same project and have my costing and billing divided amongst themselves. This comes also very handy when it comes to internal project tracking. So, for example, you have IT teams. Now, IT teams in your organization can work across the floor, across your organization, and they will be working across multiple teams to help them solve any issues or go ahead and have any issues detected. So in those scenarios, you can have the IT team being associated to different clients, which are internal people or internal teams, and then you can go ahead and see how much of time or costing or billing was divided amongst these people. So different ways or different reasons why you can associate multiple clients to a single project, and there are two basic ways of doing that. The first way is called allocated between. So you add multiple clients and then you associate a percentage to each of those clients that you have added into the project. So say, for example, I have a client, let's go back to our first example that we took. So I am going to be manufacturing, say, about 100 pieces of laptop for one client, but I'm going to also manufacturing about 500 for the other client. So my percentage of cost or the percentage that I'm going to get from those clients is going to differ. So I can divide, I can have a percentage allocation done for those particular clients. And the billing and cost data is divided as per whatever percentage that you add into the system. So you assign a percentage and then your billing and cost divides based on that. The next is the user's choice of, so you have multiple clients with no percentage to be associated. So I can just add how many clients ever I want, and then it's the choice of the user to choose who are they working for. So taking our second example that we spoke about, the internal IT team that you have. So I can have the IT team choose which team did they work for, and then the entire cost or the billing or the hours go over to that particular person. So that's one of the ways that are available. And then you have the billing and cost divided completely over to them. So let's not stick more to the presentation. Let's get into the system and talk about how you can associate multiple clients to a single project. So I'm going to go over to my Replicon instance, as you can see on your screens right now. Now, in the project management, when you're creating a new project, that's where you get a choice to choose whether you want to associate multiple clients or you want to associate a single client to a project. And that's also the place where you can decide what is going to be the method of allocation, whether you're going to allocate them with the percentage or you're going to give them or the users the choice to choose between the clients. So let me show you something. When I click on add new project up here, I will get to the screen where I can add the different set of information for this particular project, and then I have this choice to make for the client association. So the allocated between allows me to put in multiple clients. I can just click here, I can add multiple clients, and then there's a percentage allocated for each client that I've added. Now, the system automatically divides the percentage based on the number of clients that you add in here, but then you have the choice to go ahead and change the percentage if you feel that is important. So say, for example, I'm going to make it 80-20, but remember that the total amount has to be 100 towards the end. So you have to have 100%, and then you have the allocation based on that. The user's choice, on the other hand, if I have multiple clients, I don't have a percentage divided here. So ideally, the user is going to choose which particular client is he going to track the time and billing against. And then the entire billing and cost and hours, everything is going to go over to that particular client which you have chosen on the timesheet in the system. Now, let's talk about some differences that you will see once you've associated them. One, of course, you have a percentage and a non-percentage allocation. The other one is that if you have a allocated between or the percentage division, then you will see the project with the client mentioned like this. So you'll have two clients. And if you click here, you will see, or if you keep hover your mouse over this, you will see that there are two clients and you will see the percentage that has been allocated to them. Now, if I move down a little bit, you will see that you have another project which is actually user's choice of, where users get to choose which client do they want to choose on the timesheet. So I can go ahead and see here that there are choice of two clients and both the clients will be visible out here. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to my timesheet and I'm going to enter time against this particular or these projects that I have in here. Let me just go over to my timesheet in here. Okay, so the first one that I have, so I'm just going to delete the time that I already have on this timesheet. I'm going to choose my project. So I have two clients here. I can choose any one of the clients that I want, or I can just say any client on my timesheet. So I'll say any client for now. And then I have this project showing up, which has the allocated between method of client association. So I choose this up here, and if there are any tasks, I can go ahead and choose the task here. Now, the moment you do that, you will see that the line mentions two clients, and it will show you the details of both the clients being selected. If I had done this on the other way, for example, I had chosen only one client and then I had chosen the project and then I had chosen the task, it would still show two clients in the system. So this is going to always be the case since you have a percentage allocation done for the client and the system divides the billing and the hours and the cost based on that percentage. Now, if I go ahead and enter time against this particular invoicing, so I'm going to enter, say, for example, 8 hours against this particular selection that I have done. Now, whatever time I have entered, this is going to get divided based on both the clients that have been added to this particular selection that I've done here. Now, I'll add another row in here. I will now choose the second project that I had created here, which is graphics engine. So I'm going to choose any client, once again in this case, and I'm going to choose graphics engine. So I'm going down to choose the graphics engine here. Sorry, just give me a moment. Okay, looks like I've not been added to the graphics engine. So let me just go ahead and add myself to the graphics engine section here. Okay. There you go. So now I've added myself. I should now see the project on my list. I'm going to go back and try this again. So I'm doing any client now, and now I'm going to choose the graphics engine thing. Okay. Looks like I have to search this. Just give me a moment while I quickly check on this. I'll probably add a new row here. Just give me a moment while I do this. Sorry about the confusion. I had an option checked in the project that said enter time against task only, so I couldn't see the project on the timesheet, but now I should be able to see it. So there you go. I have the graphics engine project showing up here. I've chosen any client, like how I had chosen in my previous section. So I've chosen any client, I choose graphics engine here. And when I do so, since this is a method where it has to have a client selected, you cannot have the division done for both the clients, you will see a new column automatically appearing, which will ask you to go ahead and choose a client mandatorily, so that the time that you're entering is billed or is the costing is done towards that particular client only. So I'm going to go here and choose one of the clients. Now, the good thing about this column is that it appears and it can be made mandatory. So on your timesheet validation rules, we have a validation rule here, which is called making the user's choice of mandatory. So here you go. This is a validation rule that you can put in on your timesheet. It's called client selection for user's choice projects. And this makes the user's choice of selection mandatory on the timesheet. So this column that appears, you can make it mandatory so that if your project has a user's choice of, then people have to mandatorily choose one project or one client so that the billing and costing can be done towards that particular client. Now I'm going to enter 8 hours for this particular project up here. And now I'm going to probably have my timesheet submitted. So let me just go ahead and enter some more hours here with regards to this and resubmit my timesheet for approval. So now I'm going to show you how the billing and costing will get divided. So for billing to get divided and to see that division, let us move on to the invoicing section and show you how that division is done. So I'm going to go over to the billing part here. And I'm going to approve my timesheet on the whole, the one that I just submitted. Let me just go ahead and approve it, because without approval, the timesheet will not appear for the invoicing. So I'm going to mark my timesheet as approved. And now I'm going to go over to the invoice part. I'm going to add a new invoice, which is going to be for one of the clients that I have chosen on both the projects, which is Advantage Technologies. So I choose Advantage Technologies. And I go ahead and click on this timeline items here. So I'm going to change this to March. Okay, so now you see that there is this graphics engine project, and there were like 8 hours entered at this on this particular date. So I'm going to increase the date volume. I'm going to make it till February 25th to March 4th. And now you see that there are automated reporting and dashboard. Let me just probably go over to my timesheet for reference. If you see here on my timesheet, I had entered 16 hours for this particular project, 8 on 28th of February and 8 on 2nd of March, out of which only 8 hours have appeared, which is 50% of the allocation or 50% of the division. And if you see for graphics engine, since I had chosen graphics engine and Advantage Technologies here, and I had put in 16 hours totally, I will have 16 hours showing up here totally on my invoice. So the billing is not divided for the ones that you have as user's choice of, but the billing got divided equally for 8 hours for the other client. So if I had chosen a different client here, and if I choose this, I go back here. Now you will see the rest of the 8 hours for the same automated reporting and dashboard coming up for the next client that I had chosen on this particular project. So I have both the clients having equal division done based on the percentage allocation that I had done towards this. Okay, talking about the costing, so let me just go over to the reports And let me probably quickly create one report and show you how the cost will be divided. So I'm going to use project, and let me use a project template. Okay, so I have my client name, I have my project name. I'm going to remove the rest of the things from here, and I'm going to create this report. So let's run this report only for that particular project that we are looking at. So I'm going to run it first for this, and let me run it for February 25th to March 4th, the time where we have entered the data. So we'll run it for that date range. Okay, so here you see, now I have two lines here. I have the client names, I have the same project names appearing, I have the hours divided, and then I will have the cost equally divided. So whatever be the cost of the user, based on that, the cost will be multiplied and equally divided amongst both of these projects that you have. And then if there's a billing, then the billing amount will also be divided equally. Now, if I add the second project in line, so let me just go ahead and put this to all, and let me select the two projects that I had. So I'm going to choose both the projects here and run this report again. So now you will see that I had chosen Advantage Technologies graphics engine, and then I had 16 hours and totally, and then my cost is totally going to go over to this, and then my actual billing is going to be over to this particular client only. Now, since I don't have anything put for the other client that's been added for this particular project, it's going to show me a 0 on this particular report. So that is how your cost and billing will be divided based on the different allocation methods that you have with regards to the client association that you can do in the project for multiple clients. We have more questions. We are coming up with a new webinar next week, which is going to be on the artificial intelligence that we are including in our cloud logs and mobile apps, which is going to explain the face recognition and the other options like chatbots that we are introducing on the mobile and cloud log that can help you or ease your efforts of recording time on the mobile apps or the cloud logs. So we'll be sending out an invite on Intercom. Please feel free to go ahead and have yourself registered for it. We'll see you soon for next week. Thank you all for joining in today's webinar. Thanks a lot for your time.